We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Vikings Uncensored. We have reached the organized team activity portion of the off season. Of course, Vikings opened up yesterday with that. Was closed to the media, so didn't get a whole lot out from that one other than a video clip that got posted and then deleted because one of our rookie players had posted a video and then got in trouble for it, so they took it down. So, but other than that, the media was available for the practice today, which we'll get into that in a little bit. Couple of non-OTA related news items, I guess we'll hit first. First off, non-Vikings related, another high dollar contract in the works for a quarterback. Saw today that the Jacksonville Jaguars are deep in discussions on a contract extension with one Spicoli Trevor Lawrence. Now they're talking another contract of looking at that $50 million a year plus. So apparently that's the going rate for quarterbacks nowadays I know, Trevor Lawrence was one of the most hyped guys coming out of college. And
with that being said, Ryno, I don't think we've seen the best version of Trevor Lawrence yet. I don't think so either, but I think starting out with Urban Meyer was probably the worst thing that could have happened for Trevor Lawrence. And obviously we've seen how that played out. I think, it really put a dagger in his development just in that first year. Yeah. I think the best years of Trevor Lawrence are still ahead. People want to talk about, well, he's a bust, he hasn't done shit. A lot of that truly, especially in that organization, comes down to that first year head coach that he had in Urban Meyer.
Yeah, and Doug Peterson, former quarterback himself. I think, Trevor Lawrence has played considerably better under Peterson, I believe.
Oh, he absolutely has. Yes.
Now, is it enough to warrant $50 million a year? I haven't seen that yet.
I think the fire under Peterson's butt should be getting pretty warm right now, honestly. I don't think it's so much of a loss of faith in Lawrence as much so as it is a loss in faith in who he's had there at the head coach position. I believe that Trevor Lawrence can be a really good quarterback in this league.
Yeah, I don't argue that point either. I just, I haven't seen enough out of him to be overly willing to give $50 million a year to it. But
and it doesn't help that he's in Jacksonville either. That's hasn't been the most stable organization in the last decade.
No, and to Ant's point here too, you have the resurgent Houston Texans down there. You have a Indianapolis Colts team that's on the rise. Jacksonville has talent on that team. It's just they haven't put it all together yet.
That's exactly it. They just haven't put it all together. And that's how it's been down there that's how it's been down there for a long time.
Yeah, and you got the Tennessee Titans, who I think are going to be a dumpster fire this year. But
they're on the downswing for sure. Yeah,
we talked about that the other day. Derrick Henry was there. The offense ran through Derrick Henry. Now he's gone, and it's going to be Mr. Mayonnaise and his coffee at leading that team.
I don't believe that Levis is ready for that. What they're going to be asking of him this year.
Yeah, I'm well. My take on Will Levis. I was never a Will Levis fan coming, to begin with, but anyway, this isn't Jaguars Uncensored. This is Vikings Uncensored. So we'll move on from the Trevor Lawrence talk here now. But Darren Doogie Wolfson came out with a deal. I think he was on Purple Daily today. I think he said it. But Dalton Reisner fired his old agent here not too long back and hired Drew Rosenhaus, who, of course, is one of the
more well-known names.
Yeah, this one of the super agents in the NFL.
And I think he was.
I guess
wasn't he Favre's agent at one point?
No, that's Bus Cook.
Oh, okay.
But apparently, Rosenhaus has been trying to get talks restarted with the Vikings on a potential return of Dalton Reisner to the team. Now, according to Doogie, he says that as it sits right now, the Vikings do not have a whole lot of interest in bringing him back.
I don't look for us if he is to come back. I don't look for that to happen until after training camp, until they have seen what we have right now on the roster before they offer Reisner a deal or another deal.
Yeah, I've heard that they want to see what Blake Brandel can do at guard first before.
And as of right now, Brandel is penciled in as a starter.
Yeah, he was running with the one state. Now, like I said, I hope they see something that the rest of us haven't, because I don't know that I have enough confidence in Brandel being the full-time starter.
He's had his ups and downs, but he hasn't been given the opportunity like he's been given right now yet in his career up to this point. He has had games where he's looked really good at tackle and at guard. And then he's had games where and a lot of that just comes with more reps and more, if you go into the season knowing that you're going to be the starter and it's your position to lose, that has a lot to do with it as well, I think. When you're just getting called off the bench, or you're getting asked to play this week, and then, you miss out on a few weeks because the starters come back, or, the reserve life or whatever it may be.
Right. You don't get into that groove, but Anthony comes up with a good question here. Is Brandel any better than Reisner?
I think we'll find out.
Pass blocking, that remains to be seen, but I do believe he is a better run blocker, and I believe that is the reason why Dalton Reisner has not been re-signed yet. If it were going off his pass numbers, yes, absolutely, he would be back. But
I love what Reisner brought to the team as far as being a teammate, and it seemed like when Reisner entered the lineup at guard there last year, it added a different dimension, as far as the spark along that offensive line goes, in my opinion. And then the tenacity that he brought to that position. Yeah. I like that in Reisner.
Yeah. The problem is, like you said, his pass blocking grades were very good, but his run blocking grades were absolutely atrocious. And I think that in no small part was part of the problem why the run game was so bad last year, is because we didn't have that ability to create holes at the initial point of attack and get out to the second level so that the guys could, you saw it when we ran outside, we had more success. You tried to run up the middle and nothing.
A lot of us fans caught ourselves saying week after week, why are we running more runs to the outside? Why are we always forcing these runs up the middle, dives and inside traps and what have you? And then when you've seen the zone runs to the outside, you've seen the yards per carry go up as well. This is an athletic line. They're meant to pull and do that type of thing and be athletic in their blocking as far as run blocking goes.
Right. Well, and I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. There's going to be more of an emphasis on the run this year, I believe, mainly due to the fact that you're going to have, at some point in time, the plan is to have a rookie quarterback out there, and a good run game is a very good security blanket for said rookie quarterback.
People say, the concern is along the offensive line, and yes, that's true. But as far as the pass blocking goes, I believe that's going to stay towards the top of the league. Especially with the type of quarterback that we have that's going to be running the show, whether it be Darnold or McCarthy. They both have their intangibles as far as being able to make plays outside of the pocket, whereas Cousins like to stand in the pocket, and any sense of heat coming, he would take an easy sack that other quarterbacks wouldn't give up. But absolutely right as far as the run blocking goes. That's the concern for me as far as the offensive line goes, is their ability to consistently be good or great at run blocking. That's the biggest concern.
Yeah, and and that was part of the thing of bringing in Aaron Jones, into the backfield, an established running back who has shown time and time again that he can be a very strong force running the ball, and a very good pass catcher out of the backfield too, which
and that's another thing, is having a proven starting running back start the season in our backfield going to be, better than where we started off last year with Madison coming in and taking on that larger role.
I believe it will. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also, and Ty Chandler, of course, now is established RB2. And I see, I guess I envisioned anyway, it's going to be a lot like what the Packers did with Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. You're going to see similar kind of workloads between Aaron Jones and Ty Chandler. Jones has some injury history, and he's not, a spring chicken anymore by any means. So you want to manage that workload to at least to a point. Now, granted, if Jones is out there blasting off, 6-7 yards a crack and run for 150 yards a game,
you let the hot hand continue to feed him and let the hot hand play for sure in that situation.
Right. Yep.
Whereas in last year, you would have Akers come out and bust off a 7 or 8 yard run, and then you switch back to Madison. You can't be having that. You just stick with the guy that's with what's working, But
and I think some of that at the beginning of the season, part of it I think was they promised Madison he was going to get his crack at RB1, and that's why he re-signed. And then it just he just, and I'm not throwing this all at the feet of Madison either, because there was the run blocking and everything else wasn't up to snuff either. So, but it's
going to be an interesting dynamic with the new set of players that are coming in as far as that goes. Was Madison really a bigger problem than what we, figured as far as run blocking with the offensive line? Because, the running back can make your offensive line look worse as well. So, it'll be interesting to see what this running game looks like.
And we always knew Madison was like, a one cut and hit and go. He doesn't have the greatest vision in the world to see those holes opening and, be able to bounce it outside or bounce it off tackle or whatever.
And also, you have to imagine that through the weeks last year, Madison's confidence had to have been dwindling week after week after week, in my opinion.
Yeah,
he's not going to say that, but when you listen to the words coming in and all that, and then you go out in the field and you prove those people right, it's going to take a toll on your play.
Yeah. Nick with a question: did Cam Akers sign somewhere? I don't think he has yet. But again,
I can see us bringing him back in, maybe not making the 53, but bringing him in for camp and stuff like that.
I don't even know if it's that. I know KOC likes him, but the guy's had two Achilles tears. I'm ready, let the experiment end. If one of our backs goes down, then potentially, but I don't really see a need to bring him in right now. We still got we got the 3 guys on the roster right now, and we've got what's his name? The kid from last year on the practice squad, McBride, yeah. Who, I was hoping to see more out of last year, but maybe a year on the practice squad he's taken that next step, and
he'll be an interesting guy to watch in preseason games.
Mm-hmm. And then you still have Kene Nwangwu, who, isn't going to run the ball much, I don't think. But with the new kickoff rules this year, there's going to be a renewed.
Him. That's going to be the reason why he makes the team, is because of the new kickoff rule.
Yeah, and that if the kickoff rule would have remained the same from last year, I could have very easily seen Kene Nwangwu being released. But with this new opportunity, I see a key spot for him on there, and I think
I like the new rule, just to put that out there.
I do too.
I think it's going to make the kickoffs a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, because the kickoffs last year, you could have just gave the damn ball to the team on the 25 and have them start.
And here the incentive is to actually return. To return, it makes more sense. So
you have to, because and I forget exactly how the rule goes, but you can't allow the ball. If
it bounces in the end zone, it goes out to the 25, and then if it doesn't make it to the kick zone or whatever, then it goes to the 40 or something like that. It'll all get explained, I'm sure, within those first 3 weeks. We'll hear it over and over again every time the kickoff goes. So
yeah, and we'll see it in preseason games and stuff, and everybody will get up to speed with it at that time. But anyway, on to, of course, the A topic that everybody's freaking out about, and it was quiet on this for quite a while, and now the trade rumors are starting up again from a bunch of these stupid people out there that want so badly to see Justin Jefferson traded away from the Vikings.
Anywhere. If we were going to trade him, we would have traded him before the draft, for one thing. Mm-hmm. He's not going anywhere. People need to just stop.
Yeah. Well, now there was he was spotted in New Jersey over the weekend. So people are, you're going to be traded to the Jets. It's the same area where the Wilfs corporate headquarters is at.
He's not getting
traded. I also heard that he was in New Jersey having brunch with the Wilfs. So,
right.
But there's some Jets. I don't know if he's I don't think he's even a reporter. He's probably a content creator of some sort. Comes out and says that, a trade scenario of Justin Jefferson for, I forget which wide receiver on the Jets. Yeah, even nothing. What do you say, Jets fans? And so I turned around, responded to him. I said, okay, if we're going to be throwing out stupid trade proposals like that, I said, then who says no to this? Sauce Gardner for Lewis Cine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it makes just as much sense as trading Justin Jefferson for anything, basically. So
Sauce was in Minneapolis this weekend.
Yeah. That was meat sauce, but not Sauce Gardner.
There you go. Right.
But yeah, Jefferson's not going anywhere. The deal's going to get done. There's that thing. The Vikings don't like to do the extensions until the end of July, due to something with the signing bonuses and that kind of stuff, the way numbers roll around. So do I see it happening in June? It could.
It's going to happen. That's all that matters. It's going to happen.
It will happen. My guess is Justin Jefferson will at least be at TCO for the mandatory minicamp. He probably will not. I don't know that he will work out. I think he might, or he might do a little hold in type deal or whatever, but he'll show up for the mandatory minicamp. He'll be there. And then the contract will get done before the season starts. Yeah. Justin Jefferson's agent is the same one that, the same agent for Nick Bosa and stuff. And he likes to get those contracts done like right before the season start, or, training camp starts and that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So
I'm not worried. I don't think
I'm not either.
What I say is, whatever, but I personally am not worried whatsoever about Justin Jefferson's future with the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep. And Doc has a point here, that the guaranteed money has to actually be available to put in escrow. The Wolves may be adjusting funds. That may be part of it. I guess I don't know the details behind it, but there is a reason why the Vikings like to do that, the stuff at a certain point in time. Again, nothing to worry about, nothing to see here, relax. He's not going to the Jets. He's not going anywhere else. He's going to be a Minnesota Viking for the foreseeable future. He's going to be the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. And he's deserving of it. So, but as far as OTAs go, like I said yesterday, they practice outside, but the media was not allowed there. I guess McCarthy had thrown an interception on one of the throws, and that was the video that got released.
Of course.
And then got taken down again this morning. So our fourth round cornerback posted a video on social media, and then shortly thereafter it was taken down. So, I suppose, they're not, no footage of any sort was supposed to have been leaked out from that wasn't put out by the team.
Right.
Today, now the media was allowed at practice today. They've ended up practicing indoors due to the rain that's been going on over most of the state of Minnesota, South Dakota, and parts of North Dakota today. But one guy that was there, I don't remember if Kyrie was the one that got the interception himself, Ant, but because I didn't see the video.
I don't believe it was. I think it was an undrafted rookie, actually.
Yeah, McLeod, or was it? Or
yeah, I think it was McLeod, actually. Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's who it was, but I didn't. Yeah, and that's the thing, Doc. These guys have got to remember this stuff, and they don't need to put their entire life and every second on social media. Jets will be done by preseason game 3. I agree, Ryan. If not before that, there'll have to be some sort of medical insurance thing if he's practicing at all during training camp. Just protecting the investment, and the Vikings are going to be careful with that too. They're not going to put him out there and risk, Teddy Bridgewatering his knee or something for just to practice because he's Justin Jefferson. He doesn't really need it.
Yeah, McLaughlin, I love that pickup in the undrafted free agency.
Mm-hmm. But one guy that was there today, tight end TJ Hawkinson, was at practice today. He was, of course, still rehabbing his injury from the dirty hit against the Lions. But he was out there, I guess, high-fiving JJ McCarthy and talking up Sam Darnold and all this stuff. So he was out there playing the part and starting to work on that rapport, at least with his quarterbacks, which is nice to see. Nice to see him there. Kevin O'Connell, when he talked a little bit today, he's praised Sam Darnold quite a bit on how well Darnold is picking up the playbook and, how he's moving, how he's doing his reads and things like that, which is a good sign. I mean, he's not, and Kevin O'Connell's not the kind of guy that would go out there and throw somebody under the bus.
No.
Mayo.
Absolutely. Yeah, I get what you're saying, and it's right. True.
For those of you who have not seen it, New England Patriots head coach Gerard Mayo has been less than glowing of his assessment of one Drake May so far. There was a video put out I saw this morning of him doing the drop back and the pocket footwork drill, and they have a long, narrow tackling dummy type thing on the ground, and you're supposed to go back and forth over the top. And at one point in time, he tripped over that thing and kicked it across the ground and almost went down and everything else. So maybe we dodged a bullet, ladies and gentlemen, with now again, I'm not going to go at the point where we're going to get too carried away over day 2 of OTAs and oh my God, the guy is garbage, because I've heard that from New England social media already that, people are regretting taking Drake May already.
Yeah,
like,
the whispers are already there.
You haven't even seen the guy take a snap in a game yet. Just calm your ass down. He'll be,
the whispers are there though, for sure. And they're being heard by the fans. And you know what though? What happened. We got the guy that we got.
And I think
I'm
in the
not
long
going to
run,
apologize for the way the draft panned out. So, let's move forward with my guy from the draft, with our guy. At the leading the franchise moving forward. I wish Drake May the best of luck out there with the Patriots, unless they're playing us. But I'm not. Fate is what happened.
Yep. I'm going to want to address Jairus here, since we're talking the tight ends. I'm going to go saying that the Robert Tonyan sighting means that CJ Ham might be out. I disagree on that one. I think the Robert Tonyan signing means that they don't expect Hawkinson to be back for the first quarter of the season. I'd be more worried
if I was Nick Muse or Johnny Mont, to be honest with you.
I think Muse probably ends up being the odd man out. Tonyan, that was a sneaky good pickup. I mean, we kind of got brushed over it last week. We got off on a tangent on something else and didn't really get back to it like I wanted
love the
to.
Tonyan pickup.
I do too.
And, his play has really kind of fallen off, but a lot of that has to do with who's throwing the ball.
Yeah, well, in Green Bay, he was a very good tight end. He was one of Rodgers' favorite targets over there.
He had 11 touchdowns one year. I think it was back in 2020.
Yeah, but then he got hurt and then ended up going to the Bears, playing behind Cole Kmet there. And of course, you had Justin Fields, who threw for 1,100 yards in a season. None of the 6 teams that took quarterbacks in the top 10 know yet. Absolutely not. Nick Muse is gone. Everyone in the first 10 picks will regret not picking McCarthy. Dan, I hope you were right on that. I think there's a very good chance that happens.
Of course, I agree. But yes, absolutely. This whole league is going to, anyone that didn't pick McCarthy when they had the chance is going to be, shit out of luck, in my opinion. So,
yep. Now talking about McCarthy, of course, that's another one of the A topics. Everybody came here to talk. They didn't come here to talk about Robert Tonyan. They came here to listen to or talk about our quarterback. Judd Zulgad, Purple Daily, was out at, does his afternoon Judd clips or whatever after he goes to practice. He said, looking at practice today, Sam Darnold was the clear number 1. As expected. We didn't expect McCarthy to come in and just be handed the keys to the car. So Darnold doing the work. Actually, McCarthy was quarterback 3 today. Nick Mullins was running as quarterback 2.
Hey, he's ahead of Jared Hall.
Yeah. But I saw something interesting this afternoon. I forget who it was that said, it might have been Alec Lewis from The Athletic, that if McCarthy doesn't hit those benchmarks that, KOC has put out there as the spots that he needs to hit before he can, eventually get out and be the starting quarterback, the likelihood is that JJ McCarthy could start the season as quarterback 3, just for the simple fact that if they don't think he's ready to go out there yet and something happens to Sam Darnold, then they would roll Nick Mullins out there to, they're going to be careful with McCarthy, and they're going to do everything possible to make sure he succeeds.
The plans are in place, but you know what? Yep. One thing I've noticed is nobody's named anybody a starter yet. And the words that have been thrown out there by Darnold and by JJ McCarthy are both that they're here to compete. Yep. I believe it's an open competition,
Oh yeah. And if it gets to the point where JJ McCarthy proves over the summer in OTAs, mandatory mini camps, gets to training camp and proves that he can grasp it. Now, it's not proving that he's the best quarterback on the roster. It's proving that he understands the offense and can run the full, complete playbook, and be able to command the offense.
It's like being the gasoline for a car. You want good gasoline in your car or whatever, or whatever it might be. You want to be running things smoothly out there and stuff like that. And yeah.
Yep. So, if he can hit those benchmarks and do that, yeah, he runs a very good chance of starting the season. If he doesn't, then it's going to be Sam Darnold. Not going to do this. Oh my God, this shouldn't be good. Taking and pump the brakes, hasn't even beat Darnold yet. Agreed, Ryan. The voice of the voice of reason right there. To paraphrase the late great Denny Green, we're not going to his ass yet, but
they're going to regret it, Ryan.
Oh, I think they will too.
They're going to. I'm going to say it. If you don't want to say it, fine. I'm going to say it. That's fine. The commenter commenting here.
Yeah. But another thing, that one of the narratives on JJ McCarthy, that's the tired, lazy things that were thrown out there about, he doesn't have a strong arm or anything like that. Alec Lewis from The Athletic had a couple of posts on Twitter today. He said, on McCarthy's velocity, he said, he said, I know it's very cliche to say that the ball jumps out of a quarterback's hand. He said, but he said, that's it never been more apt for anybody that he's seen other than McCarthy. He said, there's some major juice on that arm. And, he had the second highest velocity on his throws at the combine behind Joe Milton.
Right.
So I have no concerns about JJ McCarthy's arm strength.
And
the more, and it's not even a concern. It's just something that going to need to be taught, is McCarthy needs to learn a little bit more of the touch to, not throw it through the side of a barn wall, but to drop it in the bucket, and which he can do. We've seen him do it. It's just being able to know when to do it and when to
It's just part of learning his craft more, and putting your receivers in a good position to make a catch.
Yeah. Well, and you hear some things. Oh yeah, McCarthy sailed a few passes and this and that too. But one of the reporters, and I forget which one it was, made a point to come out and say, that they were working on McCarthy's footwork extensively today, and they thought was, their opinion anyway, was the reason why some of the passes were sailing, was just because of how, playing with the footwork and some of that other stuff, so if he's not used to it, he's got to learn how the ball is going to come off of his hand with, how the foot is planted.
Ryan. I get it, Ryan. In the comments. For sure. I haven't had this much confidence in a quarterback coming into the league in quite some time, and I think he's going to be just fine when he does get his opportunity.
But to Ryan's point, everybody in Chicago is crowning Caleb Williams as the next Patrick Mahomes too. So he's
better than Patrick Mahomes already. He's better.
Yeah,
he's better.
Yeah, he's gonna walk out for his first start wearing the gold jacket. But let's all remember at this point in time last year, Justin Fields was one of the betting favorites to win NFL MVP for 2023.
Right, we talked about it too.
And now he's going to be a damn punt returner for the freaking Pittsburgh Steelers potentially. But so anyway, that's the biggest thing on McCarthy. Not a whole lot out there. They had practice yesterday, practice day. Tomorrow they have off and go back in on Thursday again for another round, and then I think they have a couple more the weekend, then off for the holiday, and of course all that. One of the cool pressers they had to do, Harrison Smith had a press conference today.
Was the best one of the day, I think.
Yeah, it was, and he was talking about, he'd been sitting around and hadn't really been thinking too much about playing football.
He was welding for his brother.
Yeah, he was doing carpentry and welding for his brother's construction company, and somebody had said something about the draft and whatever all else, and then it said, "Oh yeah, I suppose I probably better call my agent and tell him I still want to play this year or whatever."
Right.
So, he said Hitman said the main reason he came back was because he wants to keep competing. He still loves to play, loves playing for Kevin O'Connell and learning. He said he's still learning stuff. You know, the guy's been in the league for what, 14 years now?
And you know what? He's taking good care of his body. A lot of that
Yeah.
plays into it as well. He hasn't been injured very often, knock on wood. But that goes into it big time. Taking care of your body, you know, being able to play, you know, to a point to where you're not getting injured.
Yep.
And still being great. I thought one of the greatest, you know,
yeah,
the last 15 years to suit up at safety in the league.
Amen, Sarah. Exactly. But yeah, and you know, he also said, you know, he's still learning stuff from Brian Flores, you know, and a guy, like I said, who's been in the league for 14 years or 13 years, whatever it's been now, and still out there learning stuff. I mean, that's the guy, you know, is good at his craft, and he understands the fact that you can always get better even at that age. I mean, it's, you know, I think this probably is Harrison Smith's swan song.
We thought that last year though too.
Yeah, we did, but I think that, you know, and depending upon, he still may play great this year and may want to give it one more again after this. But
he said it best though. When he retires, a lot of things aren't. You know, he's just going to kind of ride off into the sunset and not really say much.
Yeah, he's just he said you probably won't know till you don't see me on the field, kind of thing. So, but you know, I love Harrison Smith. He's been my favorite player on this team since he came into the league. And, you know, I try not to get into that. We need to keep my favorite players around, kind of thing. I try to look at it as more what's best for the team. But in this case, keeping Harrison Smith around, his knowledge, his, you know, still capable. Is he the Harrison Smith of 5 years ago? No, absolutely he's not.
If there was no benefit of having him on the roster, then, you know, it would be time to leave. But I mean, we have not lost games because of Harrison Smith not performing, you know, ever. No. So if that's the case, you know, if he still wants to play, if he could still do it, if he could still play at a certain level, you know, and the type of player, the guy that he is in the locker room, and the benefit that he brings to these rookies and young bucks coming in, then yeah, you keep the guy around for sure. And the fact that he's willing to, you know, work with you financially to stick with the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, he is the quintessential team player, you know, and a guy that would have had other opportunities to go someplace else and make more money if he'd have wanted to, but you know, he wants to be a Viking, he wants to retire a Viking, and I think the team is going to accommodate him the best, or as best they can, to make that happen.
I think we, as fans, we've all been very fortunate to be able to watch the type of career that Harrison Smith has put together.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you know, Harrison Smith is one of the best defensive players that this team has had, and that's saying something.
And Greenway kind of falls in that same category as well. I enjoyed, you know, not to take it away from Harrison Smith at all, but he was in the same league as Smith goes as far as what he meant to this organization as a player.
Yeah, I mean, I think Harrison Smith is even more impactful. You know, Harrison Smith is borderline Hall of Fame material.
Oh yeah,
you know, he's definite ring of honor. You know, that number 22 has had the two greatest safeties to ever play for the Vikings, Paul Krause and Harrison Smith. You know, I'm not big on retiring numbers, but you may want to consider that when Harrison Smith hangs it up.
Yeah.
Just, you know, because not only because of him, but because of Paul Krause as well. I mean, it's, you know, and then everybody's going to say, and this I don't go for retiring numbers because, well, why isn't 84 retired? Why isn't 93 retired? You can't retire everybody, everything, or you're not going to have enough numbers to field the 90-man roster during training camp. Be a Hall of Famer easily. I don't think it's easily, Ant. I think he deserves it. But to Dave's point here too, in Bulls, that whether you want to admit it or not, that does ring against it.
It does. It has some sway when it comes to getting elected into the Hall of Fame. Rings matter.
It does, and we have that. And then look at one plate. Jim Marshall still has not made it in because everybody still equates to that wrong way run that he did. And it shouldn't matter. Every player has one bad, a bad game here and there, a bad play, something like that. And I'm not going to turn this into the Jim Marshall Hall of Fame rant again. We all know he belongs there. We've said it before on this show. We're going to keep pushing for it till it happens. But there's nobody. Harrison Smith is as deserving as anybody to make the Hall, and that's when he gets. That's the best way to put it.
That's the best way to put it. Yeah.
Ryan, that's a very good point. Numbers and eyeballs test Hitman's every bit as deserving as Ed Reed. Reed has the ring. Yeah. Ed Reed was a very, very good safety.
I love me some Ed Reed. Yeah.
I do too, but if you put the two of them there and tell me which one I want, I'll take Harrison Smith.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
So that's about all I've got for the OTA type stuff. You got anything else you want to hit, Lance? Or
I think that wraps it up pretty well. Is there anybody out there that has any questions that they want to ring out here before we wrap it all up? Go ahead and speak your piece.
Yeah, a little bit shorter show tonight, but again, not a whole lot coming out of camp because just due to the lack of media availability, I guess, for some of this stuff. But how many flags would Reed get in today's game? I mean, Reed didn't play all that long ago, so I think he'd still end up just fine. But I would say, similar to Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith gets a lot of flags that he probably shouldn't get either. But any word on how? Yeah, they've been talking him up pretty good. The guy's got a damn good motor.
Switch.
Yep. One thing I will say,
things will look different when pads get put on.
Yep. Yeah, it's hard to say right now on this amp because they just really haven't released a whole lot of stuff as to how things are going.
And it's still it's so early in the process yet too.
Yep. There's been guys flashed. A couple of the undrafted guys have looked good, but again, you're out there in shells and shorts. You're not
a rookie from this year, but a rookie to be watching throughout this offseason process, in my opinion, is Thayer Thomas at wide receiver. By all accounts, he's probably one of the guys that's been having the better offseason program. But yeah, that's definitely a name, in my opinion, to keep an eye on.
And another one to take a look at, just look, the numbers came out for what they gave the undrafted free agents. Murphy, of course, got the higher stuff, but don't sleep on Ja'Shawn Jones, that wide receiver. They gave him like the second highest undrafted free agent money of all the 17 guys that came in. Dave, does it seem like there's been a change in team's public relations department? They're capturing less for us to look at. I don't know if that's by design, but some of it is I think there's the rules that are limiting what can come out from the first couple of days at least. I think the the Vikings social media team and stuff like that needs to step their game up a little bit. Watching some of the schedule release videos and stuff that some of the other teams did, they had funny stuff. They had others, and the Vikings, to me, there was pretty meh. I'm not.
I think Jared hit the nail on the head as far as the Reisner bit goes, with the comment that he just made.
Yeah, I think at this point in time, there's got to be something, because nobody else is signing either. It was the same thing last fall, whenever, before we brought him in. He's a decent player, but nobody's banging down his door to have him come sign a contract. So,
I think a lot of it has to do with financials. I really do.
It very possibly could be. I know he's saying he doesn't want to break the bank or anything, but what is his expectations versus what, we talked about Reisner quite a bit earlier in the show, his pass blocking, yay, his run blocking, yeah. So
I think Ant's got a good name to keep an eye on too during camp here. There's been a couple of write-ups about this guy that I've went through and looked at. And
Levi Drake Rodriguez, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's a big name to look at. I think he makes the 53.
Mm-hmm. One other thing I want to bring up, if you guys haven't seen it yet, we've got a link to it on our Facebook page, but the behind the scenes stuff from the Vikings war room during draft, that it was really cool to see. And good stuff on there about, especially when they got into the end there with Richard and Juergens and Levi Drake Rodriguez, on how they were talking there, how they were watching the boards, and Kwesi said he wanted to take Juergens at 177. Well, they realized that Richard wasn't going to make it to the 7th round, so they took him first. Yep. And then, so the three guys they wanted were Richard, Juergens, and Rodriguez, and by playing it the way they did, they got all three of them.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm really interested to see that Levi Drake Rodriguez play too. They're talking him up big time. I haven't had a chance to go back and watch much tape on him yet, but
a lot of the naysayers, and I understand this and everything, but it comes from the competition and the where he played in college.
Yeah, well, even Juergens played at Wake Forest. That's a Group of 5 school, it's not a Power 5 school, but we've said it before too. If you're talented enough, it doesn't matter your level of competition. If you can play, you can play.
That's just it. Exactly.
And some of these guys that come out of the small schools, come in with a bigger chip on their shoulder because they got turned down from your Power 5 schools or, what have you. So it's, Jer asked what we have left for money to spend, 13-ish, at somewhere in that range. I don't know the exact number, but
we did.
We did. Ty Chandler's is RB2.
Right. And we tied up the offensive line in that little bit too in the beginning. Yep. So I think that's a good place to wrap it up tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. Again, I want to thank everybody for watching. I know we've kind of hit the lull of the season when there's not a whole lot coming out, but you know what? Appreciate everybody sticking with us during the slow months and joining us every week. Shout out to everybody in the chat as always. Shout out to the Filipino fan club, Noy, Jen, Nympha, Sam, Paulo, happy birthday. I know it's your birthday today. It's great to have everybody across the pond watching. And Lisa, also two birthdays over in the Filipino fan club. Paulo and Lisa, happy birthday to both of you guys. Again, people around the world are watching two guys sit here talk about football. It's
love it.
Love it. We love doing this. Thank you again so much, guys. Next week, the show will be Thursday night, right?
Thursday. My birthday next week, guys.
Yeah, so we'll have a birthday party for Brunswick next Thursday as we do the show live once again. With that, again, thank you, everyone. And Brunswick, why don't you take us out of here?
I can't believe we haven't mentioned this tonight yet. And being that we are a Minnesota sports show, shout out to the motherfucking Minnesota Timberwolves going to the Western Conference Finals, man. What a game 7. What a series that was against the Nuggets, you know. I look to see what Edwards brings to the table this next round. And
well,
Carl Anthony
shout out to Cat. Yeah, I mean, the last 2 games, Cat was crucial to winning those games.
McDaniels too coming up. It's been great. And Naz Reid, the 6th man. I mean, I can't say enough good things about this Timberwolves team. You know, I felt this way about the Vikings in previous seasons as I do right now about the Timberwolves. Let's just hope we have a different outcome on the end this time. I mean, is this a team of destiny? I don't know, but I mean, I'm loving what I'm watching. I'm looking forward to. I look forward to every day waking up and thinking about the next game in this series. You know, moving forward. I'm enjoying watching the Timberwolves play right now, and I believe a lot of those fans out there are as well. So shout out to the Timberwolves. Keep it going. Keep it rolling. And with that being said, Millie and Aubrey, if you're out there watching, Dad loves and misses you. We'll see y'all next week, Thursday at 7:00. Skol.
Have a good week, everybody.